the company that we have Repeat After Me on. So it's called Double Action LLC. And for a Citibank credit card, and that account was denied, which is phenomenal. Interesting.
Why?
I don't know.
I never can get business credit through Citibank.
Really?
I did. Well, I take it back. I did when I first started Sites to Behold.
I have tons of Citibank credit cards.
Well, I have Citibank credit cards, but whenever I apply through them for business stuff, it's a major pain in my ass. Whereas I had a better chance with
I think that camera's not in the right position.
Whose?
Huh?
Whose camera?
Is it my camera?
Oh. No,
Because I think your laptop hit it. It's okay. So if you guys tuning in here, welcome. This is Abe Nadimi.
I'm Jannica Morton.
Emily Francis.
So if you've been watching on any of the other days, we've had Stephen Ellis here, and Stephen is no longer, or he's not gonna, he's with us.
He died. He's dead.
He's in the living. He's with the living. He's with us. He's actually just taking a meeting right now, so maybe he'll come in a little bit later.
And he said he might chat with us.
Yeah, and he might be able to chat with us. So, anyways, that's that.
He's not dead.
He's definitely not dead. So today, we have it's a very unscripted thing. We're just kind of hanging out. We're building this company in front of you and sharing with you some of the things that we go through as we're creating the Kinetic Experience and working with different clients and so forth. And today the code word is finances, and it's about income and plan. And that doesn't mean that we're going to always talk about income or finances or whatever. It's just that somehow we'll see if we can bring the conversation back around to those topics. And it's part of our wealth wheel, which Jannica will be. I'm going to surprise attack Jannica with that.
Not a mouthful. The wealth wheel is about living your optimal life, and part of that is eating healthy, which is what I'm doing. So we covered 10 main.
And that's why I ate my bagel covered in cream cheese before we started rolling. It was so good.
So we covered 10 resources that we believe are very crucial to living your ideal life and your optimal life. And then we break those down into 2 resources each. So what we're going to do through these live streams is talk about one of those 10 key resources and apply it to life and entrepreneurship and whatever fits in your world and in our world. So today we're talking about money and planning for money, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was just saying, like I said, the credit card application I had submitted got declined for Citibank Business Card, which is will be interesting for me to find out, because I have such an amazing history with them. I think my first credit card with Citibank is, you know what? I actually think I have it because I think they write it on the card.
It's so old. It's made of wood.
It's since 19, whatever, as soon as you turn 21 or 18.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I have one like
I thought
that.
they usually have that on here.
Or
Member
clay.
since. They used to have that, like member since such and such.
Right.
I can't see it here.
Well,
But I want to say it was since like 1997 or 1999.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a really great, I have a great relationship with them. What I love about getting the card with them is because we're based out of Dallas, American Airlines is here, and if I rack up American Airline points, it's easy to go anywhere in the world
right.
with that. So the annual membership is, I think, $95, and the current offer was that you get 60,000 miles if you spend more than $3,000 on the card over the first 3 months.
Right.
Which is easy because we have some expenses coming up anyways for that business. So I thought, man, if we can get that card right now, 60,000 miles is, I want to say maybe two tickets to Europe.
Yeah.
Because I think they're 25 or 30,000, you know, in the economy and the peasant class where I usually ride, way in the back.
And help me with the luggage.
When I wish I was really short.
Gosh.
Okay,
Yeah,
those seats are even too big for, like, too small for me, and I'm not tall. So
Yeah, see,
they're like child size now.
Yeah.
But I think, speaking along that line of credit, I think something that we talked about last week at that live event that we did for the investor panel
Right.
was around entrepreneurs really focusing, business owners, it doesn't matter, entrepreneur, business owner, whatever, paying attention to their credit score and actively doing things to increase their credit. Because that available credit is something that you can use for either business specific related loans, or of course, like buying purchases that are just carried out on
Right.
that.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a Citibank card since I was 18, and Yeah, I know that's forever old. But
Only like 10 years, totally fine. Don't
Totally.
do math, kids.
yeah, don't. But it, yeah, I just always struggled with getting a business card through them. But Chase, no problem, and Capital One. But I
Yeah,
like,
so somebody told me that Capital One cards are not looked, because they're so easy to get,
yeah,
of course they positively impact your credit score, but it's almost like, oh, that brand, we don't give so much credit on that brand. We
Well-
don't give so much credence to that credit. And I don't know if that even makes sense.
well, so I don't know, but like Barkley, I had two cards with them for, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years, older than Scarlett, when I bought my first
That's pretty
iMac.
old.
So 2006, so whatever that is. I got the first one and then the second one, and those were both business cards. I got the second one like 4 or 5 years ago. Both of them, when I was in Paris last year, I missed one payment and they closed both of them. And well, first they took so I was right because I just bought my my MacBook or something. So they dropped the credit, the available
Credit
credit down below what my credit limit, how much credit I had on it. So then I was over, so then they were charging me fees. So within 60 days, they dropped it,
And then got rid.
and then they closed it. And I was like,
Wow.
what the?
Didn't they go under? Like, aren't they
Barclays?
not a thing? Didn't they get bought out?
Who?
Barclays? I have
no
no idea.
I don't know about that.
I just know I won't use them
I feel like I
again.
had some card that was like, now it's like Barclays and so, like, together.
Yeah, I don't know. I just was beyond
check.
pissed because it was like 5 days late, and that's what they did. And it was like $300 and something in fees.
Well, and it's one of those things where, okay, if you've had years of an amazing relationship, essentially, it's just like, bye, bitch. Like, what?
Biden.
That's really what it felt like. I'm like, done with you.
Okay. And now it's one of those things where, like, man, they lost a long-term customer who's going to tell everyone about how crappily you were treated after years.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
That's bad business, people.
Yeah,
But it's super common for that industry.
Yeah.
PayPal is notorious for that shit.
Really?
If they think there's anything wrong with your account, they just kill the account. And they lock your money up, and then you have to resolve that situation with them. And so I always tell anybody that I know that does any kind of significant amount of business on PayPal, constantly drain that account.
Yeah.
Constantly. Don't ever let that account go up in value, because there could be some issue and totally could be bullshit. It doesn't even matter. And then that money's just locked until you go figure it out. But you don't have the funds, because that destroys cash flow. Like, just destroys your cash flow.
Yeah.
You're always expecting that money to show up, and it just gets sit there, and they're not taking it from you. They just won't let you access
Let
it.
you have it, yeah.
Well, that'll bankrupt you.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
That happened to us, I think, twice in Social Smoke, and then we're like, fuck PayPal. And so I really don't like to do any business on PayPal, except, I'll pay on and off, things like that, because it's just such a poor customer service experience when you're the thing is that in the credit card world, you would think that the shop owner is the customer,
Right.
but it's not the shop owner. You're just like, you're not even a client. You're like allowed to use their network, but they don't give two fucks about you, because they'll close your account like this and put you in a horrifically difficult position.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, just being more on the, like, consumer side of it. There is some security for, like, online purchases and stuff as a consumer. Obviously not as, like, the store or the retailer. But it's really interesting that they didn't try to develop, like, a solid relationship with both of those.
Yes.
Like, you guys are the bad guy no matter what, but you're on my side, so I like you.
No, it's really bad. Credit card
Yeah.
chargebacks are a really, really difficult thing for retail stores, because you can go home right now and go to every restaurant that you had an issue with, every restaurant you went in the last 2 weeks for, charge them back, and the vast majority of them you'll win. Because they have within 7 days to actually,
Hashtag
start.
side hustle.
It's just stupid.
No,
It's
just
just
kidding.
absolutely stupid. They give no credit, no protection to the shop owner. It's very, very difficult. Like, you're definitely guilty until proven innocent, and so you have to prove all of these different things that the person made the purchase. Otherwise, you get the money taken away from you.
Yeah, and I mean, as having a business, especially like a restaurant, you probably have like dozens of transactions that same time frame. That, like, how are you going to go through? Like, hey, who was working this table? at
You have to go-
8:03 on a
Right.
Tuesday.
Find the receipt, find the credit card slip, and then they'll ask you, well, did you verify the picture ID with the this?
Of course
No.
not.
Of course not. So,
What is this, 1997?
and in that case, they would say, well, we have no proof that this was the person, and that's kind of understandable. They don't have
Yeah,
proof.
that's
But it's not even that. It's
true.
the online purchases are really bad like that and so forth. It's just
Yeah.
what it is. But anyways, yeah, I really want to get this card for the Citibank card because I want the miles.
Yeah.
If we're going to be spending the money, might as well get the miles. I think that's for me, it's the most clear cut. Well, I don't want to say it's the best reward program, but it's a really good reward program because it's so clean cut. You just, spend $1, you get a miles. And I think at 15,000, 12,500 is the first
Yeah.
ticket that shows up, which is it's pretty easy to get to that if you're running a business. Because most businesses, you can put so many different things that are auto draft or whatever on the card, and it just racks up.
That's what I do.
So I think that's a really
Plus, if you get lots of miles, then you can afford to take me with you places.
Yes.
I'll tell you all the other secret places I know about, even better than the Theosophical Society.
start over. What?
She said the more miles we get, the more we can take her places, and she'll share her secrets of all the awesome places she knows.
Do I have to take you there and then you'll share the secret?
Yes, it's like a quest.
Yeah.
It's like a quest.
It's a
Yeah.
quest. I love quests.
Smeagol's not like, hey, the ring's so and so. Like, just let me take you with me, and then we'll see what happens.
See how smart she is?
Or maybe it'll jog my memory once we're there.
Or maybe she'll go on YouTube, on Google, like, what's a cool place to go while I'm here?
Fuck Siri, help me.
So what would be the next city to go to?
Well, I want to go to Chicago. It's getting to be the nice time of year to go.
I have never been. I want to go.
Well, and that's where the society is.
Yeah, we have to go there. We have to find people to interview there.
Oh, we got a bunch of
Plenty.
people to interview through Danny over there.
Well, I know, but through
Danny's actually the person who lives Danny's neighbor, the one who lives right in front of him, and well, I think he moved. Anyways, he's a good buddy over there. Super awesome story.
well, we need to interview him. But I
He's
was
really,
saying we
really
also
awesome.
need to interview people at the Thea's something or other society.
Well, and that my aunt volunteered there. I don't know if she still does, but she did for a long time. She's actually cool too, because she was is still currently severely dyslexic, but managed to like bust her ass all the way through vet school.
Oh yeah, we need to talk to her.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
you look at Da Vinci's stuff. Definitely dyslexic man.
You think so? Why?
Just the way that he wrote and talked, and the way that he researched stuff. It just seems like all of the ways that it coincides with all of the
What's the other one he had? Dysgraphia?
dysgraphia.
You think?
Yeah.
Or we think he had? What is
I
that?
think he had dysgraphia is the I don't know
Isn't
the
that-
technical terms, but it's basically the computation from where your brain goes to the actual motor skill of writing it out, and there can be like a
Which is the one with maps, because like that, like essentially, like you can't really read a map well because you're constantly like turning it.
it might be
Maybe it's
dysgraphia.
not.
I don't know. I know that. So Evan has it. So when he was little, he would see it in his brain, but then when he'd go to write it out, totally not what he saw, and he would even look at it and go,
Wow.
Yeah, dysgraphia
really?
is the inability to write coherently. So like even if you can read it, you cannot get your
Yeah.
motor skills to go
Could
along
he
with what
type it?
he could totally type it. Same with Scarlett when she was little.
That's a phenomenal thing.
She would see it and but then she'd go and she'd be like,
So does that only show up in writing, or does it show up if he was gonna like cut a piece of wood? He's like, okay, I'm gonna cut this straight line, and then it actually happens. And
for
it's
him
like,
it was only with writing. I don't know.
Wow, that's
I
interesting.
don't know with other things. With her, it was with like she could not transition from like say she's cutting stuff with scissors. She couldn't transition from that to writing with a pencil or painting or doing anything else with her hand. So she's cutting something with scissors, and then she gets a pencil to write. She tries to cut like the same motion, and so or she was writing with a pencil and she would go to do scissors. It was like her brain wouldn't change the activity from one activity to the next, and they said that could be part of it too. So yeah, I don't know. But then so when you look at the way Leonardo wrote and the way he did his drawings and sketches, and that's the other thing, they can draw and sketch and it's beautiful. They can do pictures and images. It's the letters to. It's very crazy how it
It is
works.
crazy.
Yeah,
Like, why specifically letters have a problem, but not the creation of a tree?
I don't know. I haven't studied it enough. I just was like, okay, well, have at it. Do what you want to do. Figure it out.
Maybe
you
just
know?
a tree, like just art is more free form, so there's
Yeah.
not that like same part of your brain being triggered, I guess.
Right.
So whatever part,
It's not the
Doesn't work.
analytical side, it's the creative side.
yeah. So maybe just whatever those connections are on that side.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. But it's
Oh, that would be an interesting question. Article 13 was what is our perspective on Article 13? I have no perspective on it right now.
I don't
I'm
even
not-
know what it is. What is Article
It's a
13?
controversial copyright law. I believe I read about this last year, but it looks like they approved it. Oh, look at this. So the EU Parliament voted Tuesday to approve fiercely contested changes that make platforms such as YouTube responsible for copyright infringements committed by their users. So, no, I do not want that. So I would say from that one sentence, and this is on CNN Business, I don't know anything more than that. I have not researched anything else. I have no other data. I would say based on that one sentence, and if that's really the gist of what's happening, what the ramifications of this are is really crippling businesses that are in the platform space. So that's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, so forth.
Even Twitch.
And I would say if I was YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, I would say fuck the EU and I'm not going to be there. I'm not.
Wow.
Because I think what they're wanting to do is I would do that. If I was the CEO of YouTube, I would push heavily to pull all of YouTube out of the EU and let them go find a different solution, because what would happen to the internet in that particular position is that it puts so many controls, and then if anything even hypothetically looks like a copyright infringement is fucking hard to figure out anyways.
yeah.
I mean, there's the blatant copyright violation, right? The straight up, which is like, I took your book and I printed your book, and then there's
And then I wrote my name on in front of it.
right. There's that, and then there's the other forms of copyright infringement that are harder to prove, and so then you have court cases and stuff. How are they going to put that responsibility on a platform? I think it's absolutely stupid. The whole event of the internet was this free flow of information, and ever since that, money and power is showing up to cripple that and take it back and re-silo all of this information. And that's exactly what has happened. When if you think about what the internet allows you to do is it allows you to communicate, like in our case, with someone in a whole different place instantaneously.
Right.
But if Twitch is now concerned around what are we posting, imagine the craziness that'll happen, because I could start
Like, could they
sharing
even
some
let
music
you?
right now that would be a copyright violation, and Twitch would get in trouble.
Yeah, could they even allow live streaming, or would it be everything has to be submitted to a panel to be reviewed before you can post it, so they don't get sued? Like, so I mean, how would that?
That's
even,
what would exactly I would have. Like, what does that mean? I have to
Yeah,
now see the
submit.
shit first. Where YouTube gets something like fucking 40 billion hours of video a minute. Like, how would they
Something
possibly
like that,
do this?
yeah.
But I would pull it. I would pull it from these platforms, because I think these countries don't. They want to regulate something that inherently should be very, very free. And so if they want that, then they need to develop their own platform, but it will suck. And what will happen is the EU residents will have their own problems with it, and they will vote against it, or they'll live that life. I don't know.
It's like, almost
I don't
like,
want. I wouldn't want it. I don't want a world where the internet's controlled like that.
Well, they basically.
As somebody
need
who's had
that-
copyright shit,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt
no,
you.
you're fine.
We have had people violate our copyrights and our trademarks.
Well, Miles even, like, just, you know, he does shirt designs for his podcast and stuff. So, like, he's got his friend that makes him graphics and art and things like that. So he posts his shirt on, pick a shirt platform thing that I'm having a blank on. But he's found his shirt on multiple other places. And so he has to go
Yeah.
through the process of, like, hey, this is my shirt. It's literally my design that I created, and, you know, go through the process of pulling it down. But it's like, at that point,
It's a pain.
even people like, oh, you know, supporting Miles, like, oh, here's his design, and they buy one and not realizing, like, oh, this is some random schmo who's just gone through and just.
This would be like suing the U.S. government for allowing trademarked or copyright infringement items to transmit on the federal highway system.
Yeah.
So it's the U.S. government's responsibility
got
to
in your
enforce
car.
the fact that the roads, federally funded roads, can only be used for non-copyright infringement items. Can you imagine what would happen? Like every car would be searched at every.
How is this even going to work?
Well, they passed it. The EU is there's some underlying game that's happening. That I think what's happening is that the really big companies are pushing really heavily to completely destroy what the internet actually is now, because they are greedy and they're looking to protect their, they don't want their movies or their songs or their books, probably the movies and songs,
right,
to be posted here. But that is what's exploded the internet.
Right.
I mean, that's what's exploded music. And that's like the whole Steve Jobs fight, and I don't know much about it, but actually my friend Hal, the one in Seattle, was actually part of that whole thing. Like worked with mp3.com, and I think did some advising on Napster at the time.
I remember Napster.
So there was a whole thing at the time that was like, no, they're killing music, but actually that's what
spread it.
That's
music.
what exposed me to musicians that I then went and bought their stuff. Cause I never would have fucking heard of you, but I lived in the dorms and there was like an inter-dorm Napster channel basically, and that was how you found random obscure musicians that are obscure to me, but not to so-and-so. Like,
that's how a lot of, it's just crazy. So again, I don't know anything much about it. I just know there's that few things, and I think it's absolutely asinine. And I would pull.
And the creativity.
I think the American companies should pull their platform completely from them and let the Europeans dial in via some VPN portal, like the way the Chinese have to access other things, and until the EU either gets away from this, or I don't know.
Just have to read more about it, because I mean,
I don't know
is this like?
Yeah, sites like Google News could be required to pay publishers for using snippets of their content.
What?
I actually don't vision. I mean, right now news is so readily available. Not journalism pieces, right? That's hard to get to. Because that's like somebody actually researched a bunch of shit.
Well, I don't
but
think
if you're
that happens
publishing the
anymore.
news, that's the news like buildings on fire. There's 900 people posting that, whether from their phone.
People
from
are
a
just
blog.
tweeting it, like it's fine.
Yeah.
That's not something that they lock down. But anytime I hit a paywall, I just go to. I will always find that information within 2 clicks.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking too. If they're cracking down on copyright infringement, I just see it as opportunities for businesses to go in with the capital and resources to buy up all of this content that they can slap a copyright on, so that basically normal people are the ones that are going to be getting in trouble.
Yeah, they should never put. I mean, I'm all for protecting your copyrights and so forth. I'm not okay putting that on the backs of the federal highway system, the Department of Transportation, YouTube, Twitch. It's just very short-sighted, stupid. Very anti-business. Super anti-business.
It's just kind of anti-everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So how does that impact the... So if they censor, and it's going to impact YouTube and Twitch and those type of companies, Google, whatever, how does that then flow down into the mom and pops and the small magazine companies and PR firms and all of the smaller companies from a financial standpoint? Is it going to be fine related? Like, what is pulling away is a bad idea, since that would be major revenue loss for companies.
Yeah, I would take the revenue loss. I would take the revenue loss, because then I can dictate my business and what I want to accomplish and let them figure out a different solution. It's in compromising the values of what the business stands for money, that results in this wishy-washy bullshit situations that allows government to continue to press on what they can and cannot do, because they're boiling the frog. So Google's got plenty of money. They can be just fine where they're at. And it's not just Google, right? It's all of them. It's Google. It's like what is it? Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Google
Snapchat,
News, Apple News, shit. I mean, like any of these platforms, absolutely any of them. Everything is going to turn into Netflix.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it'd be. You have to pay money. Netflix is going to approve this shit and then post it. This live streaming stuff can't happen. So
and it
I would pull
would be revenue loss, but also if on the flip side is you're now liable for all these lawsuits and stuff, that might eat away whatever revenue you might have anyway, times the zillions of users. If you're going to get dinged every time someone forwards an image, are you on the hook for, it could kind of balance out, sadly.
It's a good point. I mean, I get the revenue thing, but I've lost revenue before standing up to customers that were disrespectful to our team members. They were disrespectful to what we were wanting to do with our brand. And some of them were really big companies, and we've always grown. We've always grown because we respected where we were and what we wanted to do and what we wanted to be. And any time that all the decisions are only based on money, I think then we get into these kind of soulless organizations, which also makes it hard to attract team members because the company doesn't really stand for anything.
Right.
Google should stand for the free flow of information. That should be one of, if not one of their core values, then that should be the information. That should be part of their mission statement. The free
Google's
flow
a
of
faucet.
information.
It's a faucet, just things go through it.
Right.
Yeah.
It used to be cataloging the world's information or something like that, right? Something of that nature. Mm-hmm. And that's what they should stand on. Like, this is our core value. If that means we're pulling out of the whole Europe or pulling out of America or pulling out of Texas or whatever, like that's what it is because these are our core values, period.
Yeah.
And but what will happen is it'll be this situation where the European citizens will have a different internet. They'll have an internet very similar to China in some ways.
Ugh.
And it's just going to continue to go that way if we allow them. And they'll be allowed by big companies saying, okay, well, if the big companies are going to stand up for it, what am I going to be able to do? Like, I need their platforms to have a voice.
Well, that's my question. Like, how is this all going to flow down and affect everyone, all of us peons, in how we do?
Well, I don't know
sharing
because
content
it's I think it will just make things a lot harder.
I think
for
it'll
us.
be just like people have, like, you know, the region DVD players and stuff. I mean, you'll just hack it. You'll
Yeah.
use a VPN. You'll use something that lets you kind of bounce so that you don't show up in the UK when you access the internet, or EU. Because people aren't going to be like okay with just now not being able to use all of this stuff.
The speaker on the
Hello?
computer is open again.
Speaker.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
Sorry, everyone.
All right, way back. We
Okay.
fixed.
So,
Anyways.
yeah, people aren't going to be like, oh, okay, fine, I guess we won't use these platforms and tools and things. I mean, I'm sure there's YouTube stars and Twitch stars and everywhere else in Europe and everywhere else that are going to be like, the fuck you mean we can't use this because you guys are apparently don't know how the internet works. So, I don't know.
Good question. I'm glad to have read that.
Yeah.
Usually I read a website called Zero Hedge, and that's an alternative news site. And this would be an article that would have normally showed up there, and then there's like
Yeah.
different perspectives on it. That's one of the websites that I read, zerohedge.com.
I've not heard of that.
You've never heard of it?
Either. Nope.
I read a lot of news articles on there. It seems like it's always a little bit of a perspective that seems to be a few weeks ahead of what's actually happening.
That's cool.
Yep. Sometimes a few months. So that's one. And another website I've read a lot in the past was antiwar.com. So it's not really there's some, I guess the editorials can be more anti-war, but the articles it's just a news aggregator, right? So if you start reading the headlines over and over and over the course of years or months, if you read the news, if you read the headlines, you start really getting a feel. I mean, for myself, I've got a feel for the trend of what would happen. You know.
That's cool. I just never read news, which I know is kind of.
I don't know. I think the whole fake news thing. So there's another question. Is the CNN news really fake news that people claim it to be, including the president? Well, I think the reality is that news, as founded in the United States Constitution, back at the end of the 1700s, was based on freedom of speech and the separation of powers and the right of the press. And the reason is that we really have the three governing bodies in the United States, right? So you have the Congress, which is supposed to represent the people, and then the president, the executive branch, and then the law out here. Mm-hmm. And these three police each other. However, the press is what allows the citizens to police the three of them, in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? And so as long as the press could freely communicate information, And that's why there were so many protections in the press, like not disclosing who your sources are. Like these are kind of baked into the laws that allowed the press to be a very, very, very powerful arm to protect democracy. However, now the news is around how many clicks you can get and how sensational you can be so you can drive views. And so when you have that, it's just another fucking TV show.
Yeah, that's why it's either
So it's
all
not
bad.
that it's not that it's fake or not. It's that it's not delivering specific information. So today I read a headline that said the Trump administration has been monitoring teenage girls' periods for whatever. Mm-hmm. That's the headline. I haven't read the article, but I'm wondering, did they actually stand up a whole nother sub branch in the government?
For that?
Or was this something that has been going on for a long time, which now the article is saying it's...
Well, hey, at least my tampon tax is going somewhere. Putting someone's kids through college.
Right, and we don't even know what that means, right?
Okay.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
is that article around the quantity of tampons being used of a certain manufacturer? Or like, what is it? But that headline is so sensational and it's going to drive this thing, right? So now we can only talk about the Russian collusion thing because that just is kind of finished. So we've had for...
It's not finished till we get to read the report.
Yeah, well, the report. So now we have this ongoing thing like, well, I didn't read the report, so it's put bullshit. Fuck all that. It's obviously that the report is what it is and that the Trump organization didn't collude with Russia. But the reality was that there is this element in our government, which is in our laws, which is guilty, is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, Trump's whole organization was guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
And they talked about it over the course of the last, 2 years? Right?
Mm-hmm. It's been crazy.
Yeah. But obviously, according to this, he was innocent, the organization was innocent from colluding with Russia to influence the election.
See that?
So how can you even talk about this shit over the last 2 years? Because there's so many clips like Trump colluded with him. I've had people tell me like, how is it possible that our president worked with Russia to be elected? And this is like, okay, well, all of that's bullshit now. So now what are you going to do? But it was all predicated on some horse shit that happened a long time ago.
Well, so what are we supposed to do with that? Because that's part of the reason I don't watch the news. One, it's depressing and disgusting, and so just drama. And then the other is I don't know what to believe anymore. So I don't watch any of it.
You know, my thing is that in the midst of all the noise, you can find, for myself anyways, I feel like I can find the nuggets of information. And I use those nuggets of information to make my own opinion of actually what's happening. But it really does require you to look at so many different sources.
Yeah,
Right?
I would just rather spend my time studying something
I get it.
that
And
interests
that's
me.
a whole other thing. It's just study things that make you feel good and expand your stack of books that you're always going through all the time. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really, really amazing too. I like geopolitics and I like that stuff and I'm interested in it. But it's also really stupid. Who wants to shotgun a beer on stream with you?
Yeah, no. I
think
don't like
we actually have one.
We do.
We have one for Emily because remember
I
that
thought
one?
you drank that one.
No, it's still in the fridge.
I'm not shotgunning a beer. Thank you very much.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what it is,
we
but
have
Emily would know.
Dominican.
To be fair, I do have a nifty special device just to make it so you can shotgun a beer.
Okay, someone explain to me, what does that even mean?
So as you poke a hole in like the bottom of the beer can, and then you open the top, and then basically
It
it's
just
like a beer
pours
bong,
in.
but out of a can.
Why? Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Why not?
To get drunk faster.
Because beer's nasty, number one.
That's like an opinion, man.
No,
But
it's
a lot of it
nasty.
is.
It's full on nasty. It tastes like whatever piss would taste like. It's nasty.
No.
Emily's like, no.
Sadly. Yeah, your terrible kid peed in my mouth, so how I know.
You know the difference? I don't know.
Did you just say that?
She totally did.
Did that really happen?
Evan.
Yes. Totally.
What do you mean that? How did that happen?
When I was changing his diaper, like I'd only dealt with girls, so that diaper came off and it was like an unruly fire hose, and I was caught with my mouth open, I guess is the expression. But
My children gave her lots of
life
experiences.
skills.
I think it's called trauma, not life
Or that.
experiences. I think you
People
need to
can
visit with Gary.
choose to look at it as trauma. I choose to look at it as now I know to like duck. Or aim it at their own face. So
And then they're like, what the heck just
Yeah.
So
How do you
mean.
like that little?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Don't
No.
pee in your caregiver's face.
No,
Dick
no.
move.
I remember the time I took diaper off of Scotty and he was like 1.5, and that thing like peed and hit like 6 feet behind me. It seemed like it covered the TV. Like it was just everywhere. I'm like,
This conversation we were really going to south real fast. We were doing really good. We were talking about news. We were talking about like Article 13 copyrights implications.
I'm sorry.
Google
This
finances.
welcome to real life.
and
Mom
that
life.
just makes us basically a news channel because it's like what will get clicks.
Oh God. I'm
If it pees, it
praying. I'm
leads.
praying on the time where the world will finally go back. Like, I'm done with the clowns. I want to go back to the old born
Yeah.
Walter Cronkites of the world, you know. And I just want to watch some simple stuff.
I just
with some
wanna
dude on
learn
TV
something.
That'll just tell me the fucking facts and then let me make my own opinion. But pretty soon it'll be like the octagon, right? Like the U.S. presidential election will one day get decided in the octagon, like
We-
straight up.
We
Brawl.
basically live in idiocracy. Like that movie was freaking telling the
We're
future.
just gonna go right back to 100 years, like a couple hundred years ago, where the guy with the biggest sword and the little army would go and conquer the other town, and then that's it. I'm your new fucking king. What you got?
Or they duke it out on some sort of online game. And everyone can watch it versus on Twitch.
I love Guy from Mars. Guy from Mars always has the best questions. Investing on gold or investing on real estate?
Ooh. Well,
I say both a little bit. So the cool thing with real estate is that real estate, so Grant Cardone
depends.
talks about real estate like it doesn't go away. So he did this one little video on Instagram, which was I think he was in Europe. He's like, you see this building? It's been around for 800 years, right?
Yeah.
The shit doesn't go anywhere.
He can't
That's
have
why
been
you
in
should invest in
America.
real estate. However, that's because that building was built in a city that lasted 800 years.
right.
Right? You can definitely pick a house in an area of town that never grows. Right? So in Dallas Fort Worth, if you're in Dallas Fort Worth, if you ever pull it up on the map, South Dallas doesn't grow. Up north, just 20 minutes, you got Plano, you got Frisco, you
McKinney.
have Addison.
McKinney, Allen, that's just like
Exploded. So if you owned a house, if you had to pick and you said, well, I'm going to buy this house versus that house, you would have done that 20 years ago. The Plano house, you would be just loaded with equity.
Right.
And the Dallas house might have gone up.
Well, it's like the Bay Area.
Oh, the Bay Area
It's
versus somewhere right
ridiculous.
nearby.
Well,
right?
okay, so if you look at the .com, the late 90s, buying in the Bay Area, it was crazy. And then they went out 2 hours driving to start building out like Tracy and the Central Valley and Byron, Discovery Bay, all of that, and Los Banos. And so all of those areas, all of these subdivisions went in, all these houses. People are paying $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 for little tract houses 2 hours away from their work. .com crash happens, all of that real estate tanks. People who invested out there lost tons and tons of money.
See, I don't call that investing. I call
Right,
that
that's what-
speculating.
Right.
I had to finally realize that I'm a speculator. Like, my stock portfolio is all horseshit. It's all based on me looking like, I think that looks good. So I bought Chipotle stock. I don't know. I can tell you the exact day I bought it, actually. It was, let's call it 18 months ago, something of
Right.
that nature. And it's up 130%. I did not read a financial report. I never talked to any of the CEOs. I never was on any of
I was
them.
just driving by Chipotle one day.
Well, I looked at the
hungry.
news and they were having some mega problems. And I'm like, so the
Oh, is
vote
that when everyone
was,
got like poisoned by the lettuce or something?
yes,
Oh,
like
that's right.
repeatedly listeria or some shit that was going on, right?
Just wash your
Or
hands,
was it E.
people.
coli? It doesn't matter. And so I just looked at it and I thought, I made a vote. The vote was, are they going to go to zero or are they going to fix their shit? That's what the vote was. But it was not predicated on any actual fucking data, right? So I quit saying that I'm an investor and I say I'm a speculator there. I'm an investor here. I'm an investor and repeat after me,
Yeah.
right? Like I know the owners or her, you know. I know the owners. I know what this vision is. I can see the direction. I can see the challenges. I can see what they can overcome. That to me is investing. So in the real estate space too, it's like if you just hop in because then everybody else is hopping in, then that's speculating because you're speculating the fact that it's going to continue moving up. If you actually look at the data and do the graphs and so forth, real estate's an amazing play, especially if you make the right buy because somebody else is paying down your mortgage or
Right.
paying mortgages. I mean, even if you
If
bought
do
a
it
building.
renting.
It's an amazing opportunity, but I think so many people buy in on one house, and I think the real opportunity is when you can buy a quadplex and above, so you have a concentration of individuals and a concentration of effort, and so that you're not like driving across town for one house, you know, and so you can kind of keep things, and then all your income is not tied to one person either.
Right. I met someone the other day who said that they were flipping homes and that, so they call themselves real estate investors.
Ugh.
And I was like, how is that investing? That's a job. It's you
Flipping
buy a house.
homes is to me, I also consider mostly a job.
It's a job.
And
There's
it depends
not
on
investment.
but it depends on what the money, how the money is. Because if a flipper is taking the money that they make from flipping the house and using that to pay for their bread and their clothing and their food,
They're living off of it.
right? And then they have that little bit of gap that they turn around and be able to do that again. To me, that's a job.
Totally a job. If they use that money, or if they are the investor for someone else to flip,
Totally different.
Totally
Then you're an
different.
investor.
yeah.
And still
yeah,
probably speculator, but you're investing in that person and what
Right.
their concepts are. And I think that's what drives, again, just my thought on it, my idea on it, is that I think that's what drives these huge swings right now in real estate, because the flippers need to be able to get that money going in and out.
Yeah.
The minute there's a slowdown that happens, it really impacts their cash flow. And when it impacts the cash flow of any business, businesses start to do drastic shit. When they start to do drastic shit, they get into a situation where they're selling faster and you drive down the market.
Well, it goes back to that credit. If
And
you
it
don't-
goes back to credit availability.
Yeah, I mean, we experienced all that last year. It's a stressful thing when we had on one house a foundation problem. The investors said they were really awesome with what they had given us to do the house, but then we have a foundation problem. We fix the foundation problem and then find that there's a plumbing problem now because fixing the foundation broke one of the pipes or something like that. Which
Pretty
then-
much anytime you adjust the foundation
It needs
pipes
to-
and
yes.
then framing and then
Then
windows,
all
it's a
of it.
whole
Yeah.
shit show.
So then that turned into a ton more of an issue. And then the investor lost money on that deal.
I'm just glad you actually fixed all those things and just slapped tile over and be like, look, this house is so cute now.
No,
Good luck,
totally,
buyer.
Totally fix them, but you
That's
still
the exception, not the rule, sadly.
I always thought it would be interesting to establish a brand name around the houses that you're renovating. So you're like, oh, that house was renovated. by
Almost like
Jannica.
an architect
Well,
or a
that's what we
designer
were
or
doing.
something.
that's what we were doing, and we were creating that.
Put a little plaque on the outside, like renovated by this person. So like
Well,
I
and
stand by the work that
Magnolia, think about them. That's totally their brand. They go around and people know which houses are done by
Yeah.
Magnolia, and
But is that how they did it in the
Pretty much
past, or is it
all
now
Waco.
because they're a show, and now
I
there's a
think those two
notoriety?
things kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like there's a show because of the brand and there's a brand because of the show.
I don't know.
yeah.
Could be.
But like if we
I don't know
had
the
had
origin story.
if we had had other credit lines at that time to be able to, it wouldn't have taken as long, right? So when you come up a problem and you're out of money, your investors don't want to invest anymore, then what do? You have to start taking personal cash or you use personal credit. If we had had another credit line at that time or another investor, we would have been able to quickly turn that property much faster and not had to keep paying that mortgage and all the insurance and everything month after month after month. So cash flow for our business is freaking, I think it's probably the most important thing, and it terrifies me. That's my Achilles heel with running Mindshift agency, is like, you never know when your clients are going to pay, especially the big corporations. Like if they're due 30 days, a lot of them don't pay for 90 days. So you have to float that. You have to pay all your contractors, you have to pay all your expenses, your platforms,
And what if
everything.
they don't pay?
And they don't, some of them don't.
Like Sears just went bankrupt
Yeah.
out of the blue. Well, kind of no. I mean, I tracked that shit for a while. That was going to happen, but
Yeah.
that bankruptcy, you don't get any money.
No,
That's it,
you
you're
don't.
done.
I've had corporations and big companies where, yeah, I could take them to court, but it's like, what the hell? Like, you're a business. You're a real business. We did a service for you. You loved the service. You hired us for more jobs, and then you just decide not to pay anymore, knowing full well it's on me as a small company to go and fight it and all of that. I think it's bullshit, but it happens
That's
a
where
lot.
I feel like social media is a good tool for things like that too.
It is.
Because it's
But
what are you
again,
going
you're
to sue me for telling people that you've had an invoice open for 2 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome to take that. I love that system, this letter. No, I don't like to extend myself like that, and I don't like those businesses that require that.
yeah.
So I never, like at Social Smoke, we never extend the lines of credit,
Yeah.
almost ever.
Well, it's hard with the service industry though.
Well, it's hard for any industry, product, service, whatever. We
But
just have
product is like instant. Here's your product. Where's my payment?
not necessarily,
Why?
because if we're going to make a multi-thousand kilo order,
Okay.
right, we require 50% up front and 50% time
50%.
at shipping.
Right.
It's it's on them. And so we would just say, look, we're not in the loan business.
Yeah.
That was the way we said it. We're not Chase Bank. You go get somebody else's money, and you don't need my money, because I'm not in the loan business. We're a small family business. We don't, like, this is a significant thing for us. So go find your own loan and pay us whenever you're ready.
Right.
And until then, we don't need the business, and you don't need the business. Because and my dad's thing is always, if you keep the money between people really white and black and clean cut, you never have any problems, ever, with somebody. And so that was just the way we ran it, right? So it's always, and that's the thing, is businesses become kind of loan departments for each other, and that's fine. But you do expose yourself to this massive risk if the other business goes down. And if you go in a service-based business, with a lot of that money is actually going out to other people, it's not a massive profit margin built in.
Right.
You are just wiped.
Yeah.
Wiped. It could ruin your business. One bad customer on one bad invoice timed incorrectly could put you in bankruptcy.
Oh yeah.
So nope. And that's
Terrifying.
why the business we're building here doesn't involve those elements.
Yeah. No, I love that.
And I never wanted that kind of thing, because I don't want to be in that position.
So what about gold?
Gold.
I
And
think
them
gold
thar
is
hills.
interesting. I think gold's an interesting thing. So I have read some books on gold. One of them is called The Death of Money. I'll find it here shortly.
Everything I know about gold I learned from playing Oregon Trail.
So the interesting thing about gold is the way it's currently you can invest in gold. So you can actually buy the physical bar or physical amount of gold, or you can buy a stock that represents the gold. But the
I
problem
think I got
is,
gold stock somewhere.
the problem with the gold stock is that it's not actually.
It's
not
just as
tied-
pretend as real
It's as fucking
money.
pretend, so they play around with that. It's not actually tied to the money.
Crazy.
It's not actually tied to the bars. It's ridiculous. So what I know was actually happening in the background is China and Russia have been buying up gold bars, and starting now the U.S. significantly. So when China and Russia are buying up physical gold bars, that means there's something to this, right? And China has purchased gold mines. They want gold. And I think the reality is that paper it's not worth anything.
It's
It's only worth what you accept it to be
it is.
worth, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And we all have this value that we place on gold for thousands of years, right? And so it is a true form of currency.
Well, if anyone wants to offload their paper money, please feel free to send it to me, and I will, just keep
I got
it.
it. One of my friends
I'll
gave me
recycle it or
$1
whatever.
billion Zimbabwe note. So that'll give you an example of
Fun. Well, I'll take the
The
normal.
Death of Money. That's right, by
ones.
James Rickards. Yeah. So I read that one. That was a really interesting article. And a really interesting book, gives you perspective. And I think gold is a smart decision, but it's part of an asset allocation. So if you have $100, $100,000 to invest, a sliver of it to go into gold and a sliver of it to go into real estate, I think kind of makes sense for most individuals. And it depends on how you're earning your money also. If that money you're earning in a job and it's funding an investment account, you might be able to be more risky than if the investment account is all of your money and you're using some of it to grow and build income from that, and then at the same time trying to have those bigger, riskier plays so you can make more money.
I've never invested in gold, so I know nothing about it.
Well, it's just that easy. There's websites that'll sell you by
Yeah.
the ounce or by the bar, and you just
Well, there was that MLM thing that was going around for a while too. People doing,
really.
there was a
No
whole
idea
MLM
about that.
around gold.
So the problem is that there's the spot price, right? And then there's the float on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say this cup, the spot price of the cup is $10, right? But the market will say, okay, it's $10 and I'll add $2 to whatever the spot
Right.
price is, right? And so if you're buying it way outside of that, that thing has to appreciate a significant amount to recover the money you spent on the market fee. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and that's the problem with that kind of stuff. So I'm sure if there's an MLM built on top of it, the market fee's got to be pretty substantial.
I know nothing about it. I just know there was a phase there where I was invited to a ton of parties. Like
Gold parties?
3 or 4 or 5 years ago, whenever. Yeah.
Just joking.
Gold parties, yes.
I didn't have a magic bean party.
Did you actually go to the gold parties?
Nope. I never went to any of them.
Okay.
It just seemed weird to me. So.
TKE brand beans.
What do you mean it sounds weird?
I don't know. It's just like an MLM with gold. Like, what am I going to do there? What is this about? Like, I don't know. Had no interest in it. Didn't.
Put gold leaf in all your Pampered Chef shit.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't interesting to me.
Well, I like this conversation. I like these questions. They're awesome. I think not enough individuals are investing in just plain old boring blue chip stocks, and that's something I learned from my mentor. Is my boss at Bell Helicopter. His name is Mike Heiser, and he's like, man, it's boring. It's probably not the most efficient. You surely could make money different ways, better money even, but it just works. And we're not professionals. He would say that all the time. You are not a fucking professional investor. Stop watching that shit. Stop thinking about that stuff. Unless you're trained and really, really, really amazing at it, just buy the companies that are older than you, that are outlived you, and it's true. And that's the one most. I own a lot of those kind, and the dividend paying ones are cool because the money comes back in. Yeah, so Steven's saying you can also buy gold personally and avoid the MLM runaround. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's some really good sites that are really easy to buy gold from. You just buy it and store it. If you need a place to store it, let Jannica know. She'll store it for you.
I'll show it. Yeah. I'll
Or
take
Emily.
it.
Emily will store your paper money. At a big enough amount, we won't see Emily anymore.
No, you can't disappear.
She'll do that. What was that movie? Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
That'll be Emily.
I love that movie.
I've seen it one time. You talk about
The
it.
book is, I mean, they did
love
a really good job with the movie, but the book is, like, I
Yeah.
felt a lot more interesting in that they kind of went, I mean, because it was his book, so he kind of went more into the less Hollywoody side of it. But that was good.
Well, the other part of this conversation is around plan, and kind of we alluded to in the investment thing. But like, what are you planning on doing with your money? That's the other part of our wealth wheel, which is you can make a lot of money, or even not so much money. But if you have a good plan in place, it really allows you to grow the money and protect your money, and if it's something you want to give to your family, you have a will and you have a trust fund set up for you, or an estate.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
That was so bad. And also life insurance. So I'm not a life insurance salesman. I know there's so many different ones. One's the whole life, which is basically to me like buying a house, right? Like a portion of it builds an equity, and then the other part doesn't, and you just pay that thing forever.
So do you do that whole life?
I have the term.
Yeah.
So when I bought the term, I don't know, when I was about 30-ish, I was like, man, if in 50 years I haven't got to the point that I can have $1 million on my own in cash, like I deserve to be broke and die. Like seriously. Like
That sounds like good planning.
that was my stupid idea at the time, which was like, because it's a big difference between buying term and buying whole life.
Yeah.
The money side is significant. So I thought, let me buy the term here and then work really hard to make it where that $1 million life insurance wouldn't have been as big a deal as possible, right? Or as important, as a game changer as it would have been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, gamble on myself. I'll always gamble on myself rather than not. But I have the term thing through in case one of my partners stabs me in the eye one day or something for something stupid I say, and I die.
That's a legitimate fear.
It could be.
It's not a phobia. It's a
It's not a phobia. It's a legitimate fear.
implies it's irrational.
Possibility.
It's a thing that might happen.
Yeah, see, this is good.
Like the sun will come out tomorrow.
So, Steven says, my plan is always around creating enough dividend earnings to cover 1 year of expenses. So 1 year of what kind of expenses? Living like in a frat house or living in one of those mansions in South Lake? So
Can I pick a different option?
That should be very specific.
Yeah. How about the beach?
Neither of those sounds good.
Oh, I don't know. It's like a woman thing where instead of just saying like, "Oh, I understand the general purpose of the example," they'll actually focus in on the actual things that were said.
So
I would say, like, imagine if you
that.
have the budget so you can buy a Bugatti, and you're like, "Oh, I would never get that." I'm like, "Well, what would you get instead? What would I get a beach house?" Well, just go to beach house in your mind.
But I'm trying
But we'll
to
have a whole
listen and be
conversation.
engaged in the conversation.
Apparently
Otherwise, I'm going
not.
to tune out and like fix what you're saying.
So, what example could I possibly use that would resonate with everybody?
Shitty apartment or big house in a nice area.
Steven says 50K.
That is specific because people aren't going to know what South Lake is.
South Lake is redonkulous.
And it's also specific. So literally, if you're not in DFW, you're like, I have no fucking idea what that is.
Well,
Yeah.
but the whole point is like in the example, they would understand like if I said shitty frat house here, and then I said South Lake, that they would know that's the opposite of, and so they would go into the opposite of mindset.
Or frat house. So you can get day raped every night.
So you have a question?
We should have a meditation session here.
Yeah. We can all just sit here quietly on Twitch as we meditate.
You're
Everybody
welcome.
needs to meditate after listening to us for 1 hour.
You're welcome for me encouraging you
So
to
I would
seek
need 1 million
mindfulness.
earning 4% to make around 50,000. Yeah, well there you go.
50K, that's really not that much.
It is a lot of money that you don't have anything to do with.
True, but it's still.
But it's relative. It's not that much if you're paying a mortgage or a car note, but it's more if it's just to spend, just to be on food and electricity, internet.
Well, I think about that. Like,
It's a lot of money, or it can be not. That's the whole point of these conversations. The money is all relative.
well, I know
it's
it
related
is.
to your lifestyle.
I think through that though. When was the last time my family lived on 50K? And we don't live extravagantly. So I think how do people live on, like a family of 6? How would a family of 6 live on 50K?
You eat the wheat, kids.
Yeah, I guess.
But you say you don't live extravagantly, but that's all relative also. We forget how lucky and how fortunate we are. So how many TVs do you have in your house?
And computers.
Oh, she can't even count them all. She's
No,
like,
I'm thinking, do we have one downstairs, and we have one in our bedroom.
Don't the kids?
Oh, my mom just moved in. She has one.
well, I didn't count because that's your mom.
That's
So you have 2 TVs, you have
Yeah.
2 cars, you have 1 colossal car that takes 4 gallons to the mile.
yeah.
So you do have things that
Those
some
are
people
extra,
would
like
say.
the
I mean,
two cars.
I get your point, right?
Are yes, those 2 are luxury items, but everything else, like
They're not really luxury items. It's not like you're driving around. I'm sorry. Think like would be Bugatti, but maybe not in case that's not your reference.
oh right, no, it's a Ford Expedition, 2-year-old Ford Expedition, and a 3-year-old BMW, but they're not. Yeah, we could have gone a much cheaper route in the cars.
Right.
Is what I
So I'm
meant.
just want to say like they're not
they're
like
not.
of the spectrum of cars. Like it's not all the way over here with Ferraris,
No,
but it is.
but no, I think about that though when I think of
Like how many times do you go out to eat in a month, approximately? Outside
as a
of work.
family,
Yeah. I mean,
10 times.
right. I remember growing up that going to McDonald's was our treat, and we did it once every
Couple,
2 months.
Yeah, no.
McDonald's.
Yeah, I know.
So if you're looking at that, like if you look at that as what some individuals go through, then yeah, you're living very extravagantly.
Yeah.
So,
But-
and that's okay. I mean, I'm not I'm just saying like
I get that, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, let's say 10 times a month at $80 a meal, $800. That's not the difference between 50,000 and 100,000. Like, I look through how families of 6 people feed their kids, feed the family on 50K. Not even adding in, cars and home mortgage and clothing
It's
and
Well, I
very
think
hard.
that's
That's the
why
whole
we've got a
purpose.
horrible obesity crisis and health crisis
Yeah,
in this
'cause they
country.
eat
Is you
junk.
can't
It's cheap.
buy $800 just that like $800 a month. It's not going to feed 6 people if you're buying organic, health, good, real food that goes bad quickly.
right. Well, our grocery budget is $1,800 to $2,600 a month, depending on what's going on.
Depending on which kids are home.
Well, and it depends on how many friends. Like one weekend, we can go through $600 in groceries when a bunch of the boys' friends are over.
Yeah, so I would like if I was in a time money situation, I wouldn't let the boys over. Like,
Well, no,
you
that's
guys
when we
go
go. You
eat
guys
somewhere
go to
else.
Aldi's and buy your own shit.
Yeah, you guys go buy your own shit. Go to Timmy's house. Like, go to Timmy's house
Yeah.
and go eat at Timmy's house. Like, you can't come here and raid the food because that's all the food we have.
Right.
Well, and there's that mindset too. Because I mean, I was not poverty stricken as a kid. We always had plenty of food, but It wouldn't even have occurred to me, maybe it's just a girl versus boys thing. It wouldn't have occurred to me to like bring all my friends over to eat everything in our house. Like just that mindset of me taking everything that's there that's just not a thing. So by having access, you create the sense of everything I see is up for grabs.
Yes, we're on a live stream. We're on the live stream. How can we help you?
There you go. Do you need a pen? I used to have a pen. I don't
We
know.
were just talking about boundaries and yeah. In this case, the boundary hasn't been established. Like you guys can come to my parents' house, but you can't eat all my fucking food.
Yeah, like and that's just like.
And that's a family conversation. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't like it, whatever. But it's one of those kind of things. It's,
and just having enough so that you can afford to be generous, I guess. That's always been my goal. Is I don't need a Lamborghini. I just need to be able to afford to.
I like a Ferrari. Let's focus on the Lambo.
Fine.
Why'd you say
We'll
Lambo?
focus on a Ferrari. I don't want a Ferrari. I just want to be able to
Outer Beach House.
give things to people that are close to me or that I care about. So.
Now, why do you want to give it to them?
I mean, just that gift of giving someone something that they are not expecting you to give, that you're choosing to give of your hard work, your time, your whatever to someone is just that act of love. That's one of my love languages is like gift giving, I guess. So,
To receive gifts or to give gifts?
to give them.
What's your love language to receive?
I don't remember. Oops, I should. Hey, Miles, what was that love language that you keep remembering to do?
You don't remember what he's doing?
I think mine was acts of service, like getting.
Yeah.
So it's not gifts. I don't want gifts. I just people to do something nice for me. Like take the trash out.
Yeah, take the load off of me.
Yeah, without me having to like ask, because I'll try to do that for other people if I'm not being a jackass.
Awesome. Well, guys, we did it. Instead
Yes,
of
we
giving
could.
something, you could probably invest it in a school or not. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with this comment here from guy from Mars. Instead of giving something, you could probably invest in a school or a nonprofit organization. And I really do believe in the investment in teaching someone how to fish is more important than giving, unless they're starvation mode. That's different, right? Because on Maslow's chart, you have to pass the physiological needs, right? That's on the bottom of the Maslow's chart. So it's food and shelter. So that's like fundamental. But then after that, I think the individual needs to be educated and given an opportunity to learn, and especially learn life skills.
Oh no, I say gifts. I don't know if I'm just overstating it, but I mean like buy coffee for somebody, like pay it forward behind you
That's
at
amazing.
the drive-through. So that's what I mean.
Giving them
I
something
want the
that gives them
luxury to
joy.
know that I can like, okay, my card won't bounce if I like wanted to buy coffee for somebody.
That's amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
I love it.
what I'm shooting for.
Yep.
Not a
agree.
beach house? Or
No.
Lambo?
None of those
Or
things.
Ferrari?
Are you kidding me? I drive in fucking Dallas traffic. I'm not getting any kind of nice car. I want the shittiest car that will still make it here. So I'm like, go ahead, hit it. Cut me off.
I said that before, and I got rear-ended, and
got
I got my car
rear-ended.
total.
Well, I feel like my back bumper already having the dent in it. I think people are like, oh, she doesn't know how to drive. I'm not going to tailgate.
Smart.
Yeah.
To blame me for all the damage.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, that's my plan because the person who hit me the first time had expired license and fake insurance.
Ugh.
So that was fun.
Really?
The day after my birthday, I was stopped at a light and they just like rolled into me. Didn't hit me, like straight up just didn't have his foot on the brake. It just,
So
And
there's
his
the whole
truck just
financing plan thing. They did
cracked
not
it.
plan for their financial.
no, but I mean like stopped and gave me his insurance and this whole thing. So I was like,
That's
oh,
so
cool, I did
fun.
all the things. Oh, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So sucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so part of your financial plan I would highly suggest is making sure that you have uninsured motorists.
I
Oh,
do. I
for
did. So
sure.
it was fine. But it was like the deductible and the cost of repairing the bumper were basically the same. So I was like, fuck this. My
I know,
car's
I'm just
fine.
saying, as a
Yeah.
general statement,
Oh, yeah.
always pay the extra few dollars
For driving,
Freaking
for
Steven.
uninsured motorists. I know, I've been on Lyft
Oh, I
and
know.
Uber almost exclusively for
That.
a year since
Yeah.
then, because my accident was May the 1st of 2018. That's where I got rear-ended, and I haven't had a car since.
Is
So
it
it's
been-
almost
you're
a year.
right.
Almost a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. But if we get that client that's out in Fort Worth, or that would be
Not
different.
if, when.
When? Sorry. if the universe thinks that's the right thing for me, anyways, or us. So yeah, when that happens,
Yes.
then probably gonna need a car. I don't know,
No.
and a Bugatti to get there.
No.
What's the
Figure it
point of
out.
having a fast car if you're gonna be in like bumper to bumper traffic?
Yeah, I know, that's just stupid.
Well, if you're gonna be in a shitty car or a nice car, and you're gonna be in the same physical spot, wouldn't rather be in a nicer car? But then the highway opens up because we don't live in literally continuous traffic, and then you can.
I don't feel like he drives to the suburbs
Excuse me.
very often.
I actually think the
No.
most ideal car is the BMW 3 Series. It is the perfect freaking car.
I don't agree.
I choose
Then
to
get a
base
car
my-
subscription. Huh. There's
Yeah.
such a thing?
Yes.
What does that mean?
You
Like
pay
you
a
get to
certain
change your
amount
car
of money
if it was?
every month, and you just It's like I think Cadillac is releasing it. I don't know who else has
It's
it. I'm not in the
basically
market.
That would be fun.
It's like a
That's a
temporary
different way to say
lease.
lease, but it's a lease forever.
But you get to pick different cars. You're not stuck with your same car for.
Right.
For, like,
I'm
when your
sure they're
kids
not
leave
letting
half
you
and half
change
in the
it out
back.
every hour, but there's a thing to it.
How fun would that be? Like, oh, it's beautiful this month. I want to drive around in a convertible. But next month, I think I'm gonna want
Jesus.
fucking killer AC. And winter, I want heated butt seats and.
What are you talking about?
Steering
Great
wheel.
depreciation. I love BMW, but I'm not even saying buy new. The cool thing about cars that depreciate crazy is that you can always pick it up 1 year old and let somebody else deal with that depreciation.
Yeah, isn't it what like is like between like 8 and 15% depreciation, like leaving the lot?
Depends on the car.
That's
I
crazy.
think that's like just in general.
But I think, the
Like-
3 Series is the right size. You can get it with the turbo.
it's the right
fast.
size if no one has to sit in the back.
Well, of course. I'm talking
Yeah.
about for a human. If I had to pick one person, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, if if you want to carry around the Australian, rugby team, no, the BMW 3 Series doesn't
Or
work.
a family.
Or you're
But most people are not driving around with their family. Look at all the cars that have one
Okay,
person
well,
inside of them.
I totally disagree because for let's say 17 of the last 18 years, almost exclusively driving around with my family.
Okay, you were, but was Larry driving around with his family simultaneously?
No,
Okay, so
but that's what I'm saying. It's not.
so it's a good car, and the vast majority of Americans don't have 4 kids.
True.
I didn't have any kids and I still drove around with people.
She
in my
has
car.
no kids.
I still drive around with people in my car though.
Yeah, but you could do that in a 3 Series.
But
So Guy from Mars asks, ever heard of BMW Alpina?
I have, but I forgot about it right now. Let me check it out. BMW Alpina.
Alpina. That's kind of like Issa's word.
Peony.
Peony.
Oh, wow. Alpina B6 Grand Coupe.
What's it look like?
I don't
Let's
know.
see.
Yet. Here's the 2019 Alpina B7. Oh, wow.
None of you guys probably watched Big Mouth.
I don't even know what that is.
Never mind.
Oh, those are pretty.
So BMW Alpina is an automobile manufacturing company based in.
My next car is going to be a replica of the van from Scooby Doo.
Wow.
Oh
so,
my God, yes.
So it sells high performance versions of the BMW cars. Oh, that's sexy as shit. The Alpina
Ooh, I want.
B3 Turbo.
What is up with our stupid internet?
The B5 Turbo
What do you mean?
produces 600 horsepower.
I'm having issues.
Damn, that is beautiful. Well, that just changed my world. But I'm not in the car
Abe
market.
is now buying a car.
I'm not buying a car. That's the thing. My brothers know all about these cars. Oh wow, this is gorgeous. So it's always like this website has alpina-automobiles.com, which I always think is interesting. What like some of the biggest brands that use the dash in the name of their URL, which I hate.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
But wow, this is awesome. Wow. Super sick. So
So how much is one of those?
I'm checking it out. So here's the Alpina B4. So this would be probably like the M4 equivalent 440 horsepower, 660 torque, 0 to 60, 4.2. It's gorgeous, beautiful. I want to check this out later. Anyways, all right.
Cool.
Time to sign off. It's 11:11. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes.
For our
Shout out
day.
to Guy from Mars. Thanks for making us sound smart by having to think about things.
Our links.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we have some links here at the bottom of our feed. We have our Instagram account, our YouTube account. Of course, you can link to any of us. Please, everybody, stalk Emily. She's all about getting all the fans.
No, I have enough
Message
friends.
me and I'll send you her home address and her phone number. I'm just joking. You can send her bags of
Paper money.
Bags of paper money.
Real paper money.
USD.
Our website is thekinetexperience.com. Our show, Becoming Da Vinci, which we'll talk about on another episode, is becomingdavincishow.com. Yeah, so awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.